Been saying for years that Star Wars needs a Kevin Feige type of position. There's nobody at the helm overseeing all of the different story arcs that are happening, like with Marvel. Marvel has had Kevin Feige since the get-go as the executive producer, overseeing everything, making sure one movie doesn't step on the toes of another movie, so on and so forth. But Star Wars, for all of its greatness, has not had a single mind helming the ship. One of my problems with The Force Awakens was when I saw an interview with J.J. Abrams saying, I don't know who's going to direct the next movie, and they're just going to have to figure out how to continue the story. Like, there was just never a plan. So, when I heard today that Kevin Feige himself is taking over, well, not taking over, but getting involved with the Star Wars universe, I have mixed feelings about this. Because number one, he was too busy with Marvel and all the Fox character properties they just acquired. He was too busy to continue helping with the Spider-Man movies. And that was listed as one of the reasons for the Sony Marvel split. And, I never thought that was a main reason. I figured it was always kind of a money thing, but it just sort of loses even more credibility when I hear that, he's going to go ahead and dabble in the Star Wars universe now. Second, who's going to be helming the Marvel Cinematic Universe if not Kevin Feige? I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of people. He's got to have proteges and people who have been working under him that could probably take over. But I'm kind of curious. Now, the Star Wars thing could be something he's going to be dabbling in, or it could be something that he's going to come in and start helming. And I'm inclined to think the latter, because it's the one area that's been missing. Every Star Wars movie that's come out since Disney acquired was its own entity. Yeah, The Last Jedi was a sequel to The Force Awakens, but as much as I love that movie, it is decidedly disjointed from The Force Awakens in like tone and like some of the plot points that just sort of got dropped, fizzled out. And we'll see how the trilogy itself comes together after the next movie comes out. But that's always been one of my main concerns, is they don't seem to have anybody creatively steering the ship. A lot of people have put forward Dave Filoni for that position, and I was pretty on board with that. He helmed the Clone Wars and Rebels TV series, and he's supposedly pretty heavily involved with The Mandalorian, and he is studied under Lucas, and he is very passionate about the lore of this universe. In the same way that Kevin Feige has always been passionate about the lore of the Marvel universe. It's what made him so great at that job. So, I guess Kevin Feige is also a big Star Wars fan. He could be equally passionate about that lore. But I don't see why they would do exactly that. We've all been sort of saying it for years now, it seems like. Star Wars needs a Kevin Feige. Yeah, a Kevin Feige, not Kevin Feige. Like, I guess it'll probably turn out great. That's one thing that I've noticed, is all of the speculation and worry that I had about like Disney acquiring all this stuff and making it Disneyfied. I'm not that worried about it anymore. They have shown that they're more concerned with pleasing their audience than they are with ruining things So, you know, they know how to make a good movie that appeals to the fan base, and they have not done a whole lot of flops in that regard. I haven't seen Dumbo or the new live action remakes of all the things this year, but from what I hear, they were like, at worst, they were fine. So, you know, they're not mind-blowing, but I don't think they were supposed to be. It was more of a nostalgia trip in the first place. So, as far as wanting to, you know, take the movies in a different direction, or, you know, undo the things that we liked about Star Wars, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're looking at a lot more of fan service going forward. As much as I loved The Last Jedi, the main complaint that people did have about it was the sort of like undercutting, like almost like felt like jabs at the Star Wars fans for wanting it to be like the other Star Wars movies. And that was what I liked about it in a lot of ways. It's what a lot of people liked about it. And I think we kind of broke the mold a little bit and maybe opened it up for more new things to happen in Star Wars movies. You know, that we don't have to see the same old formula recycled. But I don't think they're deaf and blind to the audience reaction. It was, you know, at best split. Everybody went and saw it, and they made a ton of money. And a few years ago, I would have been inclined to say that that's all they're after, but they're in it for the long haul. I think they're trying to put legs back on this franchise. They want people to subscribe to their Disney Plus service. They want people to start buying toys again, and they're gonna do whatever it takes to regenerate that interest, and spark interest in new generations and so on. So Kevin Feige is a bold move because he's been very successful helming the MCU, and you can kind of see where Disney's going with that. Like, well, take the guy who made us all the money and put him over here. He'll make us all the money over here. But it's not, I don't know if it's that simple. Star Wars is not Marvel, for as much as they share a fan base. I think we go to them for different things. Marvel is all spectacle for me. You know, there's a lot of team ups and fights, and oh my god, they did that thing from the comic that I loved. And, you know, some of the moments, you know, we get little cherished moments that we remember from the comics. And Feige and his team of awesome directors have managed to blend that, taking the nostalgic moments that nerds remember from the comic arcs, putting them into films where they don't feel like they're just Easter eggs. They feel like a totally natural part of the plot. So everybody watching the movie can still enjoy those moments. And part of the reason that Feige can do that is because he has been in Marvel Comics for decades. He knows the universe better than any of us. And with Star Wars, it's not something that needs to be adapted from another medium. It's something that needs to be just basically original content. Risks need to be taken. And Star Wars started with George Lucas just having this off-the-wall idea. And yeah, I don't love all of his off-the-wall ideas. I'm not a huge fan of midi-chlorians. I'm not a huge fan of the wills and the microbiomes that he was apparently going to go into for the next trilogy. But he did some pretty groundbreaking special effects in the 70s. He took a lot of chances with CGI when it was still a new technology in the 90s. and we ended up with some pretty cool movies. And one thing that I love and hate about the Disney Star Wars movies is they don't take a lot of risks. They're not really going out there. The Last Jedi notwithstanding, but that was kind of just Kathleen Kennedy saying, hey Ryan, just make whatever movie you feel like, again with no plan. That's not what we needed. So I don't know really how I feel about this. We don't even really know what kind of movie he's going to be involved with. It's not one of the saga movies. You know, the Skywalker saga is done, and the TV slate is pretty full for the next few years. So all we really know is that he wants to be involved. Bob Iger, Alan Horn want him involved, and that again screams just money-based decision to me. So I'm very curious just to see how this unfolds. I don't think Kevin would take the project if he didn't think he could bring something to the table. But I also think everybody has a price. If you put a big enough pile of money in front of somebody, they'll probably take it. So we'll see. Those are my nerdy thoughts for the day. Running a little long, so I'm gonna call it. But curious to know what you think. Throw it in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys.